Hey everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I wanted to do some artwork that was a little more intuitive, and I'm inviting you to join me on this little drawing session. It's really an art journal page using some simple art supplies, colored pencils, just basic colored pencils. I'm using some just general, these are highlighters, so I'm using highlighter markers. You can use whatever art supplies you have on hand, and my favorite tempera paint sticks. I'll be using these as well. My goal is to sort of create more intuitive artwork that just comes from within and put it on the page. So it might be abstracted, line work, that kind of thing. And I think I just want to explore a little bit more getting into the art journal without something specific in mind and see what comes out. we're going to be looking at this book. It's called A World of Artist Journal Pages. We're going to have a look at this book. It's one of my favorite books, and I think you can see in the book when I flip through the pages that a lot of this artwork is intuitive and inspiring, and it's not all planned out. It's not perfect art. It's definitely my kind of art, the kind of art that I enjoy looking at and I enjoy creating. So we are going to jump in, look at this book, and then grab whatever art supplies you have on hand, and we are going to just create loosely, freely, and intuitively, and I hope you join me. So I have my favorite art supplies out, and I'm just going to play with them today. My favorite colored pencils are from Artex. I have every brand of colored pencils, and my go-to seems to be the Artex. For whatever reason, I like the way they lay down on the paper. They're good for mark making, coloring, and basically anything else. So these are my go-to. The next art supplies I'm going to be using are the highlighters. I love highlighters because they are semi-transparent and you can see your mark making below. So if you're going to be coloring with marker or colored pencil, you can add the highlighters on top and have the mark making show through, which I really like. The other art supply would be the Craft Smart Tempera Paint Sticks. These have a nice sparkle to them. They are also semi-transparent. So a lot of your marks will show through, and these particular ones have a nice little sparkle to them. I really enjoy them. It's a big surprise. I actually find that these tempera paint sticks add a lot for such a small and simple art supply that I think is actually made for children. And the final art supply I'm going to be using today is going to be a Sharpie marker. If you follow my channel, I love a Sharpie marker. It's permanent ink and it doesn't smudge the way that a gel pen would smudge. So if I'm going to be doing some mark making and line work and I want to add highlighters on top of it and tempera paint sticks on top of it, I want to make sure that my line work and mark making isn't going to smudge. Not today. Sometimes I like that smudge effect, but not today. So grab whatever art supplies you have. We are going to get inspired by my favorite book, and then we're going to start drawing. This book is called A World of Artist Journal Pages. It's a curated book of just 1,000, it says 1,000 different artworks and 230 artists from around the world, basically. And it's people with different jobs. Not everyone that's in this book is an actual, what we call an artist, right? But I think we're all artists, to be honest with you. And I think I mentioned that this is from 2015. I've had this book for 11 years, I guess. I did buy it new. Usually I do thrifted books. I can't find a lot of really great books like this anymore. They're really hard to come by, but like, for example, this artist, and everyone's an artist regardless of what their job is. But this one is Julia Dean, and they interview her. So she's a featured artist. And they ask, like, what do you do when you're blocked? Which artists do you look to for inspiration? And how did you first start art journaling? So it's almost like an interview with all these artists, and then you get to see their artwork. And you see similar things like kind of like urban sketching in a way, different art materials, abstract art, all sorts of different kinds of art with different materials. You get to see all sorts of different artworks, different art supplies used, and different art styles in this book. And I think what I love about it is that I actually just never get tired of it. This is one of my favorites. I just love all that green color, and then this drawing in white gel pen. I just find a lot of this artwork inspiring. You know, it's mark making, it's handwriting, it's drawing faces, but not necessarily filling in the faces, but we know this is a figure with a face. Another one here, and it's not meant to be realism. There's so much beautiful artwork out here in the world that is different and just beautiful, whether it's the colors or the lines or whatever the artist is trying to tell us. Like, look at the difference. Like, there's this kind of abstracted work here where this one is more specifically drawn. Both are art and both are beautiful, and you get something from both. The colors on this one are amazing. I like the line work on this one. I like the handwriting that people, you know, write whatever they want. So we are going to just jump in and see what we can create, being inspired by artists who create whatever they want in their art journal without worry of what others think. Okay, so I am just going to start with some general mark making and see what I'm going to create. Hopefully this page won't move too much. I think that for me personally, I'm feeling like florals might be a good idea, but the thing is, I don't want to think too much, because I feel like if I think too much, it's going to take away from the joy of seeing what comes out. Part of thinking too much just means you're putting too much pressure on yourself. And so I'm just going to focus on some fun lines and possibly maybe some leaves, but maybe I'll keep them in this specific color because I can add other colors later. I always love when I see fun florals. And I'm just going with the flow. And it doesn't matter if your proportions are off, like this cat is way too big. It doesn't matter. It's going with the flow and seeing what you can create. So I'm just really trying to just quickly sketch out my little drawing. I want his little, maybe he's sort of got his feet tucked under. You have to draw in your own style and not worry about what other people think or comparison. I find comparison can be really problematic. I wonder, now I'm just gonna, my goal today is not just to sketch intuitively and draw what comes out. It's also, I want to play with different colors and different art supplies. So that's why I showed you what I was choosing today, because that's kind of what I want to play with and see what I can create. So I think what I'm going to do now is maybe use some of this. My goal is to keep it loose without overthinking everything. out this. I like these Faber Castells, even though there's a lot of liquid that comes out of these. I do like the colors. And because I'm using different art supplies, I don't care if I color everything in exactly the way it should be colored in. The other art supply I like is these Midliners. I've used these before, they're fun. These might be my favorite. I like the size of the nib of the pen, and I like the feel of it on this paper. And I think one of the things for me this year is that I don't want to be stuck in one way of doing things, whether it's my YouTube videos or my artwork. I really want to move forward and make sure that I keep going and keep trying new things instead of staying stuck in the same way. And I think part of that is making sure I practice and play in my art journal, which I've not really been doing. This is really fun to just see what comes out. Especially if you only have limited time for drawing. I feel like there should be stripes here, but I don't necessarily want them to be, maybe I want them to, I have this blue General Sharpie, it says Smear Guard highlighter, let's see. Maybe I missed spring already. We've had a lot of rain. Okay. And I think what I want to do as well, I don't know, I'm picking colors that I like and I'm not going to worry about whether it actually matches or not. So maybe I'm going to do this red and do like a checkered pattern. Part of it is letting go and embracing the discomfort of sort of the unknown when it comes to creating, and using your art journal as a way to go for it, and just, you know, who cares if it's weird looking or doesn't look right. That way you get to see what kind of lines and colors you like. I think you get better by having an art journal. I just haven't been keeping up with it as much as I wanted to. Oh, I'm liking how that looks. You can see how these tempera paint sticks, like I said, really bring things to life. I like the white space too. I don't want to go over the white space. And let's see. And I like the sparkle. I'm kind of wondering if I should do like, I'm just going to do yellow over the pink. I feel like I have a lot of pink. That looks good. I like that. And when it comes to the green, sometimes you're limited to color. I mean, you don't necessarily even have to make your leaves green. Like I've seen people make leaves like different colors, but right now I'm going to keep them as green. Okay, and finally I have my little cat to color in, and you know, I think this is going to be like my little cat Bear. And the thing about these tempera paint sticks is look how fast you can color something in. Now I'm not sure I'm gonna like it because I've colored over his little eyes, but we'll see. Again, okay, I'm gonna go for it, and we're gonna see what happens. We have to play with our art and see what comes out, and not be so particular and not be so judgmental of ourselves. I love the sparkle on this kitty. Now that I have most of my colors mapped in, I kind of want to create a shadow here. And again, I don't know how this is going to work, but it's all part of the process of letting go and trying new things. If you're not going to try new things, then how are we going to improve? Now, I don't have a lot of colors, so I am going to see if the black will make a difference. Will it look like a shadow? Can I smudge this? I can't really smudge it. It gets kind of a glue-like consistency. I'm pretty happy with this. I know I have to play around with the eyes of this cat, and sadly the sun is starting to set, so it makes it more difficult to record, but I do think I'm going to do a little mark making now, just mark making and letting go. So let's see what kind of mark making we can do, and line making. So mark making and line making. One of the things I've seen like people practice is just creating random lines to practice in your art journal. And again, we can practice with color as well as line making. So you can use all sorts of different art supplies that you have. One of my favorite things to do is, well, I'll probably use something, I'll show you in a second. I'm just actually kind of getting into my line work and mark making. Sometimes if you start an art journal like this, it opens up sort of those creative juices because you're not creating anything specific. You're just playing around with your art supplies and, you know, playing around with colors. And this also is showing me, like, again, these temper paint sticks, I probably have to get more. You can see that you can color over your lines and it just adds something to your artwork. Let's see if I could somehow make this so you can see it better. So you can see the temper paint stick is transparent and it's really fun to do. The other thing that I might like to do, I'm definitely not finding the colors that I want to use today. I really love like a teal color. I like gray, but circles is another one that I like to play with. I love circles. And maybe that's good. And maybe I should hold my pen a little light, my pencil, like, especially if you're into drawing faces, it's good to practice your shapes in your art journal. And it's funny, you can always come back to it later and fill it in and add something to it, whether you're filling it in with other colors or filling it in as in making it into something specific. But again, it's also just getting to know your art supplies better in your art journal. This is my favorite shape to make. I don't know why. I just love that curvy shape. There, you can see it now. Just mark making, line making, playing with colors. And also seeing what art supplies you like the best. Definitely like these Sharpies. It's funny because when I got the Faber Castell, I was really excited because I thought they'd be, like, maybe they were meant to be used as highlighters and not in your artwork. I just find the Sharpie marker and the Midliner have like the right flow of ink that comes out. So let me find one. Here's one. I just like the flow of the ink that comes out of it. It feels really smooth. I actually think I might like the Midliner the best, which is a surprise because I've had them for a really long time and I really didn't like them when I first bought them. And now that I'm using mainly highlighters for coloring, I don't know, it just really goes on smoothly. Really smoothly. And I like too that sometimes they come with two different colors. This one is just one color. Oh no, this one's two. They kind of blend together. And I think I like the squiggly mark. So again, you're just playing around. Hopefully you guys can, I don't know if you could see this or not. I'm probably gonna have to stop because the sun is setting. The other thing that you can practice doing in your art journal is like little squares, just practicing your 3D. I don't even know if I actually, is that 3D? I don't know. But practicing different shapes, like 3D shape. And although this might look childish or childlike, I think there's value in creating in a childlike way. Kids explore and they don't care. They don't care, you know, about the end result. They're just having fun doing what they're doing and so imaginative. And we tend to lose that. We really do lose that as we get older, probably in our teenage years when we want to be accepted. And for me personally, it took a really long time to sort of let go of worry and what other people might think. And as I dive deeper into my art, I'm learning to let go of caring what other people think of basically my art process. And 2025 was, I had comments on my YouTube of people telling me, you know, critiquing my art. And now hopefully, I haven't had that in a while, but I'm hoping that, you know, if that comes up again, I'm not going to have a reaction to it, feelings about it, because, you know, I'm putting myself out there and sharing my art, and it's not about being perfect. It's about practicing and having fun and, you know, exploring in your art journal textures, colors, art supplies, line work, and, you know, everybody out there who's art journaling, we all have some, you know, artwork that maybe isn't what we consider perfect, but perfect doesn't matter. It's really just finding joy in what you're doing. So I would love to hear from you if you practice creating art, if you're going to practice just doing line work. I wonder if I could find the other one I did. Oh, this is another one I did yesterday. And if you're just, you know, going to explore in your art journal and how that's going for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and happy sketching.